Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 439, recorded on August 10th, 2023. On tonight's episode, we talk about more summer game events like Pokémon Presents and Devolver's Showcase, game delay announcements, and are they getting out of hand, as well as our thoughts around Nintendo's reputation with third-party developers. This and more, and Jesse, you know what to do.
Let me talk to you. It's Marty here. It's Nintendo Dads, episode 439. It's the 10th of August, and I'm sick as a dog, but I'm here because, dang it, I love these guys. And
we love you too, Marty.
I'm not going to desert them. I'm not going to walk out on them.
Like the
rest of the Jericho Appreciation Society walked out on Chris Jericho last night at AEW Dynamite.
Oh, no.
It's some insider baseball there. Sorry. I've been deep in wrestling for a while. But I'm so glad to be here. That was not in any way a dig at Justin, who can't join us on the show tonight. It's absolutely not. Even though I'm contractually obligated to like Justin on air. Just like he's contractually obligated to only appear in however many shows that he has to with me. It's just... it's the little things. It's It's like the green M&Ms in my dressing room. It's the brown M&Ms in his. You know how that goes. But it's a lot about me, not a lot about you guys. How you doing, Tim? How's it going?
I'm doing good. I got to see the Gran Turismo movie on this past Tuesday with the Sony's early access things that they sent out to all PlayStation members. It was actually a really good movie. Actually a really good movie. It's like a Rocky racing game. So,
I don't know if that helps. I saw the Turtles movie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I want to see that too.
Yeah, I kind of didn't like it overall.
I understood why you didn't like it when you wrote up what you said.
Yeah, because I think I know too much about Turtles. If and they just do... all the characters are just different than what I expect. And yeah, I understand a different universe. It doesn't mean that I haven't watched 4 other previous iterations of Turtles, 7 if you include all the other movies. So yeah, but there is one fight scene that is just amazing, though.
Jesse, this is Shattered Glass Turtles. All right, if you know what I'm referring to there. You know what Shattered Glass is?
I feel like I should, but I don't.
It's the Transformers storyline or universe where the Autobots are bad and the Decepticons are good.
Yeah, wouldn't that make the Turtles bad? Or are you saying the Turtles are bad?
I'm just saying that it's weird like that. Like everybody loves Shattered Glass, and I hate it. I think it's so boring. It's stupid. It's like, Optimus Prime's bad till all are dead. Okay, Megatron's good. He wants everybody to live. I get it. And people, the Transformers fans just ate it up like candy. And I'm like, oh, they swapped their colors, and it's anyway.
Anyway, so I think the kids will like it. The adults, if they have prior knowledge, they may not like it as much. But for that one fight scene, it's the opposite. The adults who know will know and think it's great, and the kids won't know, but they'll still think it's a fun fight scene, but they won't know why.
I went to the movies too, just so you guys know.
All right.
I saw Barbie.
That's a good one to see too.
I thought it was great.
I want to see that one too.
I thought it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. And here's the deal. Like, there's been a lot of people who've like had a lot of negative things to say about it. And I'm like, I don't think that you went in there with a mindset of trying to enjoy the movie or trying to think about it. I think you thought it was just going to be a toy. And so to me, there was a lot of comparisons and not a whole lot. Like, I would say in my mind, I went in thinking, oh, this is going to be like the Lego movie, right? Because when I went and saw the original Lego movie, I thought, this is stupid. How can they make a movie about Legos without just making it Lego, like them do it? But then you watch the Lego movie, and if you've ever seen it, the twist and everything. And it's like, oh, okay. So there's a ton of little little, very intelligent, very thoughtful twists in the Barbie movie. I thought, I mean, I don't play with Barbies, but like I enjoyed it. To my wife and my daughter, we all loved it. Thought it was great.
Yeah, when I told my wife what I didn't like about the Turtles movie, she said I probably would like the Barbie movie because they make references that someone my age would probably know.
Oh, absolutely,
and
you would know.
She didn't even get all the references. She goes, "That's probably a reference, but I don't know what it is."
The level of inside jokes and just the sarcasm about the general subject of Barbie was very, very well done. I laughed a lot. I thought it was great. But other than not liking turtles, Jesse, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Another back to today was a long day thing. Where last week the whole week seemed to have gone really fast, but things slowed down back to normal again this week.
Well, that's good. That's very good. Speaking of other good things, let's talk about some news, shall we? And of course, our show is brought to us each and every week by our good friends over at Manscaped, but also it's brought to us by you over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where you, for as little as $1 a month, you can jump into the greatest community this side of, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but it's just a great community.
Barbie Land.
Yeah, it's the greatest community this side of Barbie Land. It's a really great community where people are genuinely nice and support each other and care about each other. And that's one of the things I'm really proud of that we've been able to build over there. $1 gets you access to the Discord. $5 gets you the full slate of sub channels. $10 gets you pre and post show audio where we just goof around and talk about other stuff. And $30 gets you on the show and helps you. You get to be a Patreon producer. You get to come on the show. You get to influence things. And there are also
we got some people asking about that too. Like when they get to be on the show again.
Well, we need to schedule that. And we'll be sending that out very soon. There's also
we have a system for that.
Yep, special buttons you get to push if you're a Patreon producer. So
yes.
Yep. Everybody, there you go. That's one of them. Jesse,
and you also get to push Justin's buttons.
That's right. And those those are the best buttons to push. He gets all worked up. Well, speaking of getting all worked up, Pokémon Presents was this week on the 8th. And it is, as we call things here in the South sometimes, a fart in a whirlwind. There were a lot of people who thought that this was going to be some big blockbuster announcement. And then they just talked about mobile games for a long time. Jesse, you want to give us a quick rundown about some of the big things that were announced during this Pokémon Presents? Were there any big things announced? Should we be excited about some things?
There was a few, though what I was hoping to hear, they didn't say anything about. I wanted to know release date and pricing of the premium TCG set. That didn't happen. So they talked a bit about the World Championships that started earlier this week. The new series that'll start on YouTube tomorrow called Pokemon Path to the Peak. Animated shorts featuring characters playing the card game. Another trailer for Detective Pikachu returns.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
So that's Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes, I guess if that's what Mecha was referring to when he said that, made that statement. I didn't connect the dots, but I guess that makes sense.
It's a very meta. It's an animated series about people playing a card game that came out of an animated series and video game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on.
Okay. So the Detective Pikachu returns out a new trailer. Yeah. So other than the new trailer, we already knew about that one. So October 6th for that. Okay. They didn't say if it was on Netflix or not. I'm presuming it's on Netflix, but the next Pokemon show called Pokemon Horizons, the series. This is the new season of anime that does not feature Ash, based in the Scarlet and Violet world. They said coming soon, so no release date for that yet. And again, they didn't even say if it was Netflix or not. I'm presuming it's on Netflix because the previous seasons have been. Then they talked about Pokemon Go Fest 2023. They had London and Osaka events last week. New York events will be next week. And then the global event will be the weekend after that. Then Paldea Pokemon will make their Pokemon Doge debut in September. They mentioned stuff about Pokemon Unite, which I kind of fell asleep on. Same with Pokemon Masters EX and Cafe Remix. So
you slept for a while there.
Yeah, I don't care about those games at all. Let's see. Okay, this is probably one of the big announcements. Nintendo Switch Online updates. They shadow dropped the Pokemon trading card game in the Game Boy app and Pokemon Stadium 2 in the N64 app.
Yawn.
I'm excited about the trading card game, but when they brought it out for the 3DS, I was hoping that we would get a new Pokemon trading card game for the Switch eventually, you know.
So why are they refusing to release any of the old Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance? And I ask this because my son just picked up a Game Boy Advance that has some mods to it, like mine. It's got the backlight, and
yeah,
he's wanting to pick up some of these older Pokemon games. And so he found
like
Blue.
$300.
Blue he found for $40, which I thought was a pretty good price. The cartridge was in pretty good condition. It was loose. But we can't find a really like reasonable, like not a non you're not insane price for Ruby, Sapphire, or Emerald anywhere. Thankfully, Dan from RetroLogic is stepping in to save the day with a copy of Sapphire. It's not the one he wants. Yeah. He wants Emerald. But I was like, do you really want to spend a week and a half's paycheck on one Pokemon game?
Right.
Because that's why are they refusing to release these? I don't understand.
I don't either. They're probably trying to find some way to sell it so they can monetize it, and I understand that, versus just throwing it out there on a service for free. If they do this, they need to get connectivity to Stadium to work. They're probably trying to work on that. Otherwise, what's the point?
But is it even worth it at this point in the Switch's life cycle? Because, I mean, the rumors are there that, and they're probably better, more substantial rumors than ever that Switch 2 is finally going to happen. So what's the point at this point in the life cycle?
I'm hoping that all of these NSO apps will just migrate over and
that would be great
to work. That's
But we also remember when we all hoped too that all of our virtual console games would just migrate over, because they would, because the virtual console has been in play for 10 years and we've spent all this money on it. Nope.
Well, the problem there was, they had different account systems for every system. And this is like the first time they're actually going to maintain a network between generations.
Well, that's true. That's true. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I would love to think that it's just because they've not found the right time to do it yet. But I kind of lean toward the monetizing thing. Like, they probably made a butt ton of money when they finally put out Red, Blue, and Yellow on 3DS for $10 each, because there were people who bought each one, and so they're dropping $30. But my question to that then is, why not just go ahead and do it again? Like, sell them as a package deal on the eShop and be done with it. But they've never reissued. They've never reissued Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, have they? Like there was not an eShop version of those. There was not a.
There was a Gen 3
console
remake during Gen 6, I believe. But the original Gen 3 games natively, no.
So all of those games are just sitting there, and I mean, I guess what I'm saying is like they actually have Pokemon that people really are into, like Rayquaza, and right. So why not? I mean, at least even just update them, like update the code and sell it. It just, I understand why people were disappointed in this Pokemon Presents. Could have been an email.
Right.
Could have been a couple weeks worth of tweets.
Weeks. Oh my gosh, dude. The complete bombardment of on Nintendo's Twitter this week of Detective Pikachu information. It's like, I don't care. I don't.
Somebody does.
Well, I'm sure they do. And I'm not gonna. I guess I shouldn't yuck somebody's yum, but
you're right. I mean, obviously,
I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play Detective Pikachu.
You don't need any more information about it. So
yeah, but so I'm gonna play the game, but I'm not gonna. Number one, I'm not gonna play it in October because holy crap, are they trying to drain my bank account in October?
Right.
Right? Like, why did this is another thing that I don't understand is why do they do this? They always pick 1 month during the year, and they're like, "Yep, we're gonna release a game every 5 days." Like, here's this and here's that and here's
right.
Here's Mario
between October and November for sure.
Oh my gosh! Like, spread it out a little bit, spread the love. It's like
maybe some of those things will get delayed. Who knows?
It's like when you have a kid and you're trying to teach them how to butter toast for the first time. Have you ever tried to do that? It's like, no, buddy, the butter goes all over the toast, not just like in the corner.
Not just clumped up in the corner.
Yeah, you can put that butter everywhere. Right. It'll make it better. It's like, all the games don't have to come out in October. Nintendo, we promise. We'll still buy games in September and November and December. You can spread the love. And I guess it's still too, like, to me, it's kind of weird because we don't know what that big holiday game is yet. And they're going to have one. They just haven't told us yet. Unless it's Mario RPG.
I think it might be just RPG.
It might be. It might.
Detective
and that's okay.
Pikachu.
No, I'm talking about the Black Friday, Black Friday, early December release to drive console sales into the holidays. But y'all know what it's going to be.
Mario Kart bundle.
No, they're driving. Yep, there it is. They're going to get that. They got that Mario Kart 8 Switch version 1 bundle. They've been cranking them out all year. Like, we got to make some more version 2 Switches. Let's go.
No, it's going to be Fire Emblem. They still have that anniversary edition to release.
Fire Emblem.
That'll be December.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, I know. Sorry, I totally derailed that, but anyway.
All right. So next they talked about Pokemon Sleep, which they said that if on the night of a full moon you get an extra benefit in the game. This is a game I tried playing for and I dropped it in less than a week. It's not really a game. It's like an app of random numbers, and I haven't even talked about it on the show yet. But it's I played with 2 accounts. With obviously both accounts are sleeping the same because I'm still sleeping one night. I'm not sleeping twice in the night, so you'd think both nights would kind of say, "Oh, you have the same sleep style every night." I'm like, no. One app says, or I have one sleep style, and the other app says I have a different sleep style. I don't know why, because I slept the same, because I slept once. But
your phone was parallel to you in one spot, and the other phone was perpendicular to you. That's why.
Well, no, I used the pluses.
Oh, okay.
And then synced them.
Got it.
All right. So then they ended with Scarlet and Violet news. There's going to be another web animated series called Paldean Winds. It'll be on YouTube starting September 6th. Mew is available in the game with a mystery gift with the code GETYOURMEW using a 0 instead of an O. That'll be good until September 18th. And then Mewtwo will be in Terra raids starting from September 1st through 17th. They announced a date for DLC 1, the Teal Mask, will be September 13th. The Indigo Disc is still just slated as winter. And they gave more information, but again, I'm not interested in the DLC because the way I play games, I don't get back into games once I put them down. And like if these came out in January or February, maybe, but September, no.
Yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned the DLC because that leads us into a couple of questions that we've gotten directed at us about this presentation. The first one comes from Quagmire, and he says this: what are your thoughts on Scarlet and Violet getting substantial DLC when the base game is still broken even after Nintendo publicly apologized for the state of the game?
It's still broken?
Oh, yeah, they never fixed it.
Oh, geez, oh, Pete's.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they released some patches.
They
did.
They were minor updates that they didn't fix the larger issues.
That's weird.
I think that water area in the northwest corner is a little bit better. But like flying, you're still good around. You're still going to get texture pop in.
I really think that the DLC pretty much tells us that this game will never be better than it is right now.
Yeah, because if they actually put forth the development effort to fix those issues, then the DLC wouldn't have been completed on time.
Yeah, their basic. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jesse.
Yeah, I was going to say they keep a small staff. They're not a BioWare or a Call of Duty developer. That'll have 2,000 people working on a game.
Here, these are my thoughts. Is number one, it's we have your money. Number two, I will not buy the next mainline Pokemon game until a month after release.
I think it's fair.
I have not. Look, I'm not. Y'all know from being on the show here for a while, I'm not a teraflops and doodlewhops guy. Like I don't care about 4K. I don't care about all that stuff. I just want the game to play good, right? It takes a lot for me to notice that performance is bothering a game. Pokemon is that game. Scarlet Violet is that game. I lost interest immediately, right? Like it just does not feel good. It doesn't play good. It's not fun to me. Like Sword and Shield was fun. I enjoyed that game. And this is not fun to me. It's just, and I didn't even have all that many technical problems. It was just like, all these people like just drug Breath of the Wild when it came out and was like, it's so empty. It's so empty. What's wrong with it? It's so empty. It looks so bad. But then when Pokemon came out, they're like, oh, Pokemon's in 3D. Ooh, you don't hear that at all. But like you go into towns and it's just,
I saw it. I saw it. People complaining.
Really?
Yeah, I saw it. And especially when we were talking about it at the time, it was my surprise was that, well, not a surprise, but thought it was interesting that we got Legends, and that wasn't perfect, but it was a whole heck of a lot better than Scarlet and Moon.
Yeah, I was going to mention.
You didn't feel like it got any better when Scarlet and did I say Scarlet and Moon? Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah.
Scarlet and Violet came out. That you would think it would get a little bit better, like they learned something or improved something on what they did with Legends, but
have we ever confirmed
it was worse than Legends? Yeah.
Like have we ever confirmed? Did it feel? Because to me it feels this way. It feels like Legends and Scarlet and Violet were developed by two separate teams.
Yes, that's
why. Were they developed by two?
It probably could have been.
Not sure.
Finished off by two different teams. I don't know.
Here's what I think they need to do for the next one. is they need to say, "Hello, Monolith Soft. We're a
Right.
Pokemon team. We would love for you to come in and help make 95% of this game."
Yep. Definitely need them to consult
Because
on it.
you look at what Monolith Soft has been able to do with Xenoblade on the Wii U and
the Zelda games.
the Zelda games.
Yep.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most, even if they can't get Monolith, get Panic Button. Panic Button will help you make a new Pokemon game, and it'll all be on the cart.
I wish there was a way to get numbers, but the only way I could think of it is probably survey. But I wonder how many people stopped playing Violet and Scarlet because of, they're going to update it. I'll wait till they update and then I'll go back to playing it. Like me, I stopped playing it because I was like, I'm going to wait.
I thought an update was coming.
And I'm not going to play anymore. I went on to other things and then.
Yeah. Well, that's, again, a nice little segue there, Tim. Ebucel asked us this. He said, I might have missed it, but did anyone talk about last week how Scarlet and Violet numbers have dropped off and are not having as good a tail as other Switch Pokemon games? This is probably a question for Jesse Stats Waldak.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
I didn't notice, but let me bring up last week's notes that
I thought we did bring that up because I mentioned something about.
Well, here, Scarlet and Violet still sold over 500,000 units in the quarter, compared to 100,000 units for Sword Shield. So it wasn't horrible, but I don't know. See if I can find what the quarter before was. There it is. Bringing it up.
We talked. Never mind. I was thinking we talked about it, but it was Splatoon we were talking about.
Well, of course, this is holiday numbers. So for that quarter, they sold 1.5 million units. So yeah, that got cut down by a third in the Q1 versus Q4. But those comparing those quarters aren't fair. Let's see if I can find Q1 from the previous year. Q2. Where's Q1? Q1.
Well, then I think it didn't really jump out to us either because it was still considered fairly new, right? Scarlet.
Oh, Q1 the game wasn't released yet. Sure.
Scarlet and Violet is pretty new, but where did it land on the list? Where is it?
Which list?
The recent list. It's number 7. Okay.
Number 7.
Yeah, so right behind Sword and Shield. So
they're still 3 million behind Sword and Shield. I don't know if they'll catch up. They would probably need 3 or 4 years to do it based on that.
They're still selling gangbusters, so, and it may be because they're hoping that they, just like us, that they were going to make an update to it and then be more playable. Let me say this, when I was playing it, I didn't have any problems yet. I was having fun playing it, but then when I heard about, we're sorry, all this, and then I was like, we'll probably get some updates then, so I'll just hold off and then
exactly my situation. Exactly.
I'll play the better version and come back to it. But
yeah, because I thought, well, if there's going to be a better version, then I'd rather just experience that.
Yeah.
I will. I don't want to be like totally down on it. I did think that the innovation with being able to go and have your own story and like do the big quest, the 3 main quests in any way you wanted to was nice. I think the gang or whatever, where you had to run them out of the forts, I thought that was pretty cool innovation too. Yeah. Where you like drop your Pokemon down and they like do the fighting for you and you're, beating up people as you go. I thought that was good. Having your, I do
Pokemon
think
Double Dragon,
like having the whatever, the Corridon and Miradon from the very beginning, I think that was cool too. But in the end, it was just it did not feel like a next gen game. And so I do think that the criticism was valid for that game.
That's a very good point. It didn't feel next gen. We gave them a pass for Sword and Shield because it was, the beginning of the Switch. So we expected better. And I don't think a lot of us got that. So that's a very good point.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could totally give them a pass for Sword and Shield and be like, well, they had to shift gears mid-dev cycle, right? And so that's the reason that some of this happened. But then they had how many years between Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet? Was it
3?
6? 3? Maybe they
3
needed
years.
5. Maybe they needed 5.
Maybe they shouldn't have put so much on their plate. Is probably what the problem was.
Well, exactly, and I think it comes back to one of the criticisms that I saw, and I criticized this as well, following the Pokemon Presents, is that I think it's pretty easy to see that the main focus of the Pokemon company is money. And I think if Justin was here, he would be like, "Oh yeah, definitely," because that's business and companies don't care about you.
And plus, if they're doing it right, they're going to, like, there's some games they're going to cater towards the Pokemon fan that's been a fan for a long time, that started from Gen 1, right? So that's a lot of us. And so we're the ones that are complaining. Then there's the other audience, which is the young kids that are starting for the first time, probably picking up this game for the first, playing Pokemon, and probably don't care as much as we do about what we expect. It's a Pokemon game. That's having true. Fun with it.
But here's the deal. If your mainline product is bad, you're not bringing in new fans.
But kids, that's another thing. Will kids notice what we notice is bad? Like we were saying, we expected this to be next gen.
I think a bad game is a bad game. Like if it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that we expected a next gen Pokemon game to have, that's one thing. But when it's broken and they refuse to fix it, and it's that's their major release, it's the next gen.
But I thought it was only broken graphically. Like the game still functions and still plays the story. It's just more graphically. It's a bad game, not next gen level, and that's what's frustrating for us visually. It's visually not next gen.
That's what people notice.
Yeah,
first.
And I think but the game functions normally.
And the game itself profits, but still comparing those profits to the profits they get for licensing out for T-shirts, backpacks, lunch boxes, the anime, all these web shows coming out. It's a drop in the bucket.
It's become so much,
and that's the reason why it's 3 years instead of 5, because they need to keep on putting out these new merchandise.
Yeah. Well, it's become so much more than just a video game. It used to be just the game, like the games were the leaders of the franchise, but now they're almost superfluous. As long as they could turn out a new version of Pikachu, or a new anime that has characters that they could turn into plushies and action figures and posters and everything else. And so it almost feels like, in some ways, at least with this gen, the game itself, like the main thing, has taken a back seat to all the other. And I mean, I think that's a danger for any company, right? Like any company can go through that. Is that you could get so worried about the minor things that the major thing falls, and that's where you start getting into trouble. I'm not wishing doom and gloom on the Pokemon company. Like I want them to continue. Like I think I enjoy Pokemon. Moderate. I'm a moderate user of Pokemon.
They need to come down. Like PlayStation come down. Like when PlayStation was getting all arrogant after the 2. With the 3, and it's like they got hit hard with the reality. Like every now and then, I think it's good a company gets a little consumer slap in the face and say, "Hey, you're not doing what I expect, and you need to do better." And how they come out of that is what's, the good thing, or hopefully the good thing.
And we thought that this might happen with this.
Yeah, but it hasn't yet.
It didn't, because people are going to buy it because it's Pokemon.
Right.
Yeah, and I think when Gen 10 hits, I think there might be a dip in day one, weekend one sales, for people thinking like Marty, but it's still going to be a 10 million seller just because it's Pokemon and they got the kids out there who don't care.
Right. Yep.
It just may not hit 20 million as fast.
Right. It's going to be interesting to see for sure. Can't hear you, Marty. You're muted.
Yeah, muted in the wrong place. Well, that's enough Pokemon talk. Let's move on here and talk about another showcase that came on this week. The Devolver.
I was amused by this one.
Yeah, this was very clever.
The Devolver Delayed Showcase 2023-2024 edition, which it strikes me as funny because it means that they plan on having others of these. And what this basically was a mini showcase showing games that were planned for this year, but now are moving to next year.
Yeah, and they made it look like a Nintendo Direct. They used the red arrow themes all over the place.
So making fun of the Nintendo Direct, even with the people, the cheesy comments from the people we get from Nintendo, they were cracking those lines too.
I thought this was a really cool way to announce some bad news, right? So it's like making lemonade out of lemons. So
distractions.
The games that were previously planned for this year that have been delayed into next year are The Plucky Squire, Stick It to the Stickman, Skate Story, Angerfoot, and Pepper Grinder, which I really hate because I was really looking forward to Pepper Grinder. I'm
looking forward to Plucky Squire.
I had totally forgotten about the Plucky Squire, but this made me very excited for it again. Games listed as not delayed, which means that they will come out this year. Thank God Gunbrella is on that list.
Right.
Also, Wizard with a Gun, the Talos Principle 2, which I think, Jesse, you played the Talos Principle 1.
I played the original. Yeah, I think I played it on the Switch, but this is not coming out on the Switch.
Yeah, which is interesting. The Comic Wheel Sisterhood, Karmazoo, Broforce Forever DLC, and McPixel 3 DLC. It's funny that they said McPixel 3 DLC comes out on literally everything. All of those games listed in that list that are coming out this year, except for the Talos Principle 2, are coming to Nintendo Switch, except possibly Wizard with a Gun, which was previously announced for Switch, but it wasn't mentioned here. So maybe it's delayed for Switch as well.
Probably, let's release it on these systems first, and then we'll bring it out on the Switch.
Yeah. So that's the Devolver Digital. I don't mind this because, as I've said before here on the show, Devolver don't miss. Almost everything they put out is fantastic. So I'm looking forward to them spending more time on making it more fantastical. And speaking of game release updates, here's a few little snippets of news, and we'll talk about some of these delays a little bit later on in the show. But Red Dead Redemption was finally announced for Nintendo Switch. The long-rumored port will be dropping this next week, August 17th, digitally. It'll also be available on cartridge. Some of it will be available on cart, October 13th. There's a little bit of controversy surrounding this. Number one, will it be good? Will it perform well? Number two, is Rockstar charging too much money for this when it appears to be just a port? And new patron of the show, Mo Spankins, I love that name, Mo Spankins, says, what are your thoughts on Red Dead coming to Switch? Will you pick it up? And what is with the price tag? By the way, the price tag is $49.99, but that includes all of the DLC for the base game and the Undead Nightmare extended DLC that comes with a story. Tim, what do you think? You're going to pick this up?
Yes, it's portable on the Nintendo Switch, and I think that's where there may not be controversy for people who just have a Switch and didn't have access to this game. That's why they're probably excited about this coming to the Switch. Whereas people who still didn't upgrade to a PS5 and have a PS4 are not happy about this because it's not updated and it's not 60 frames per second or anything like that. So, but yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's cool that's coming there. I never played it before. I've had those other systems, but being able to play it on the go is what intrigues me the most. So I hope to be able to pick it up. Might be on my Christmas list.
Yeah, I beat the original one on Xbox 360 back in the day, and
Nice.
so I'm probably not gonna play this. If it was Red Dead 2, absolutely, because I've never touched that game. So
Okay.
maybe that would pave the way for this to come. But it would, if Red Dead 2 came to the Switch, it would probably be just a what do you call it, a cloud version, and I don't want that. Nobody wants that.
Well, this gives them the opportunity to bring it to the Switch, and if rumors are true or our hopes and dreams come true, the Switch successor will be backwards compatible, and you'll be able to play Red Dead from when you picked it up now, and then when Red Dead 2 comes out on the successor, you'll be able to play that there too if you want. So I think it works out.
Yeah, I looked at the price of how much it sells for on Xbox, and it sells for $30. But I don't know how much all the DLC costs, just because they didn't show it. Since I don't own the base game, they didn't show me how much the DLC costs. They do have a lot of DLC marked as free, but I don't know if they have $20 worth of DLC or not.
Right.
Well, ports cost money. We've talked about this before with Nintendo's own ports. So,
right. But I would expect, price parity. If it already exists on one system and then they release it on another system,
yes,
there should not be a price bump. They should have
still got the
price parity.
Switch tax.
Yeah, but it's also $50 in the PlayStation 4. It's not just the Switch here,
right? And people want to know what they're getting for that money, for that $50.
I think it comes down to how much that DLC costs.
I don't think this is Switch tax here, because I was looking at a tweet or an X or whatever you call it now earlier, where it said it's available in the Xbox ecosystem for $40 still. So you're only paying $10 more for Switch. So I guess you could call that a Switch tax, but really, I mean, this is a whole brand new system. For a console that now exists outside the original ecosystem that it was part of.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So I mean, I get it. I think if you're a fan of this, then you're gonna. I mean, if you've never played Red Dead Redemption, you owe it to yourself to play it. It's one of the best games ever. Storyline is amazing. There is a moment halfway through the game. And Tim, have you played it before?
No.
Jesse, have you played it before?
I rented it on PS3 once.
Okay, so
I didn't get far.
I'm just going to say this, so I won't spoil it for anybody that hasn't played it, because I realize that there are some people who listen to us who maybe only play things on Nintendo. This is totally worth picking up. I would wait to see what the performance is like, but I'll say this: there's a moment halfway through this game that is just one of the best video game moments of all time.
Nice.
And you'll know it when you get there. You'll know it. It's so good.
And then Friendo says, I just don't want it's good for Switch port. And I don't think anybody does.
I totally get that.
Yeah. I still want it to look good for the Switch in handheld and be able to play it. I was disappointed with Outer Worlds when they brought that over and how bad it looked. But then when they did an update, Pokemon Company, when they did an update, it looked better.
But remember this.
I was able to play it and enjoy it a lot better.
This is not just a last gen game. It's a next to last gen game.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that it's going to have problems on the Switch.
No, and the video it looked great. And I'm assuming that it was playing because they were advertising
But
it for the Switch, that's the view they were giving us was a Switch view.
But let me say this too, to that end, is that I have AEW Fight Forever on 2 systems.
Mm-hmm.
I play it on the Switch on the go. I play it on the PlayStation 5 for the way it looks.
Well, of course.
It's
and we
so
say
much
that about
better.
everything. We say that about everything. If there's a game
Sure.
that comes out for the systems, you have a choice. Do you want to play it portably, or do you want to play it for visuals and play it on your couch? So
yeah. No, I totally get that, but I'm saying I don't think that's one of those things you have to worry about here.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Because it's 2 generations ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be one of those things. I still would wait to see reviews, but obviously I would say reviews are going to be out this week. Yes. I would say this. It's one of those things you watch. If the reviews don't come out until the day of the launch, then that's a red flag. Right?
Right.
So yeah. Also, a couple other games that we were excited about this month that have now been delayed. WrestleQuest announced a delay on the day of release to be pushed back 2 weeks late due to a bug found that could result in the loss of save data if the game is played on multiple devices. The statement that the company Skybound made was, because this is a game filled with hours of content and player progress is so important, we could never body slam our fans like that. And so now it will be out on August the 22nd. And oh yeah, I'm going to play it. I can't wait. I was stoked that this game was coming out this week, and so disappointed. But then I was going to replace it with 30XX. And it got delayed on the day of launch due to developer Battery Staple Games not submitting the game in time for Nintendo's system of checks.
Oops.
It is out on PC, and this is their statement. We're sorry for the timing here. Hearing your favorite game has been delayed is a bummer. Hearing about it on release morning is worse. We thought we'd left enough time for Nintendo's processes for the game, but we were wrong. We effed it, and we're sorry. Once the release date is available, the developer will send an update. So there's no release date for this game at this time, which is a bummer. If you remember, 20XX was one of my early favorite Switch games. It's roguelike Mega Man X. And so this is the sequel to that adds co-op and just looks, and it also adds a mega mode, which will allow you to play static levels that actually seem to have a story. So it looks really good. I just hate it for them. And so we're going to talk about these delays after the break. Right now, let's pause for an ad from our good friends over at Manscaped.
Attention fantasy football fanatics. As draft season approaches, don't neglect the most important draft pick of all, your game balls. We all know how injuries can ruin a season, so let Manscaped take care of that Reggie Bush of yours with their skin-safe technology. This should guarantee you a smooth ride into the playoffs. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have created a championship lineup with their Performance Package 4.0, and it's time for you to do the same. Join the 9 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for the kickoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off, plus free shipping with the code NINDADS, NINDADS. Inside their Performance Package 4.0, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and travel bag. Slotted at quarterback, we have the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. This spaceship is here to guide you on a journey to trim your body, balls, and even your A-gap. This 4th generation trimmer also features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multi-function on-off switch, can engage a travel lock, and is even waterproof. The Lawnmower 4.0 also has 4,000K LED spotlight brighter than Bryce Young's future in the end zone. The Performance 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker, the ultimate flex. Watch it run through ear and nose hairs like Aaron Donald runs through your favorite quarterback. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual blade system. Whew, that's a lot of words. This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in those sensitive holes. Don't forget to use Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and their Crop Reviver to help your little bench warmers be on their A game while feeling the sun's heat. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Who's the commissioner now? Get 25% off plus free shipping with the code NINDADS at manscaped.com. Again, that's NINDADS for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. It's time to put the PP back in PPR and get a grip on your pigskin this season with Manscaped.
When you said who's the commissioner now, you know what it made me think of? The old line from, I guess, what movie was it that had Sean Connery in it, and he said, "You're the man now, dog."
I don't know. I don't remember that one.
I can't remember, but it was like one of the very early internet memes. Like there was a website that you could go to where it was just him repeating that over and over and over.
Maybe somebody in the chat will figure it out.
It is. Oh, you can still go to it. You're the man now dog.ytmnd.com. Finding Forrester was the name of the movie.
Okay.
And Sean Connery, you're the man now, dog.
That's one I didn't watch. So that's probably
over and over and over. Yeah.
Never heard of that.
It's an okay movie. It's an okay movie. Well, let's talk about some things here. A lot more developers seem to be comfortable with delaying their games. Skybound is one of them. The developers for battery staple games didn't seem comfortable with delaying 30XX, but they had to. Assuming this has to do like less with crunch, but still more polish. What are some things that developers and publishers can do to not affect customer expectations? In other words, how do they keep from letting us down?
Well, first of all, my thoughts are delay the game all you need if it's going to make a better game. So I'm okay with it. I think most people will be okay with it. You know, if it's the vocal minority are going to be jerks about it, they don't really care about you. They just care about the game. Yeah. So, but I think something that what they can do to help not affect customer expectations is to, hold off on announcing a release date until closer to the end of their QA cycle.
Yes. Everybody's doing what Nintendo's been doing, and why not this? Why doesn't the industry follow this more, where it's like, okay, Nintendo still does it here and there, don't get me wrong, but for the majority of the time, it seems like Nintendo's starting to do more and more of here's the game, it will be launching, either it's a shadow drop or it's going to launch, in a couple months, So it's like, why can't more and more companies, especially, I know there's some things you can't help, like what happened with, WrestleQuest and say 30XX, especially 30XS's case. But it just seems like more and more we keep getting all of these delays. And yes, we're comfortable with it, but there's a certain point where I think consumers are going to be like, okay, this is getting ridiculous now. Every company's, I can't trust the dates you're giving me anymore. So muted.
Yeah. So my comment on this is simply 2 words: Silk Song.
Right.
don't announce it until it's ready or close to being ready. Because now, like, Silksong and Hatch Tales are almost the same thing now, right? And without getting into that whole debacle, you need to be sure, too, that you manage the expectations of what you know people want to see. Like, it's been a year since Hatch Tales, an update came out about that. And without getting into, I'm not going to get into griping about it or anything. I want people to know what happened. It had been a solid year since there had been an update. The developer made an update this week, and all backers got for that was a picture of a menu screen for a game they've been waiting 5 years for.
Something that was said in Jules' interview when he brought that up was asked. I think it was Game Explain that did the interview. It was about a different game that he had brought to them to show off or whatever that was going to be on 3DS and stuff. But they asked him that question. But something they brought up was like, he said, "I'm not into marketing. I wish I didn't have to do it." And he basically acknowledging that he doesn't know how to approach this. Not saying this is an excuse. My point I'm trying to get to, because again, we don't want to beat a dead horse here, is that these indie companies definitely, you can tell, don't have that expertise to know when to drop a game.
Well, they're trying to be everything, right? Like they're trying to be
they're
devs,
trying to do all that stuff.
Devs and marketing and PR, and maybe those are the same thing. And the face of the company and all this. And for people who maybe aren't extroverted, even, or aren't good at that, it's like it's a harrowing experience. But I would say this, a sage of Nintendo dads, Zach Erickson, once said this: high hopes and low expectations. And so I think that what companies need to understand is that, yes, a delayed game is or a good game. What's the Miyamoto quote? A delayed game.
Most banks just posted it here. A delayed game will eventually be good. A bad game is bad forever.
Right. So a delayed game may eventually be good. A delayed game or a hastily released game is bad forever. That's all well and good. But you can manage the hype by how much you reveal. Everybody wants the big trailer reveal moment. Everybody wants the yada, yada, yada. But it's risk versus reward, right? Get your name out there.
Metroid Prime's case, the PNG of a logo that isn't going to be the final logo.
Right. Right. That's just like some nebula out somewhere that's shaped like a 4. I think it's better to hold your cards closer to your chest and it be like, y'all remember during I think we praised this and we've come back to it several times, that Nintendo's strategy during the height of COVID was not to announce something until it was almost ready.
Yeah,
right?
Paper Mario wasn't announced until
That's
it was
exactly
gold.
what I was about to mention was this game's out next month. Now that's all they were doing.
And that was the time when pre-orders was an instant download right away, which meaning they had a build, which means it was gold.
Yeah. So I guess that they have the capital to do that, but it's just been the story time and time and time again over the life cycle of the Switch. Company A really talks about game. It's coming next year or it's coming in 6 months. 3 years down the pike, where is it? Or a year, release date comes. Oh, we're working on it. New release date comes. Oh, we're working on it. It happened with Pocket Fighter. It happened with Wargroove. It happened with Super Meat Boy Forever. It's happened with Hatch Tales. It's happened with King of the Hat. It's happened with
King of the Hat has a release date now.
The thing though that's frustrating with all this too, though, is there are good examples of how to do it right. We got a recent one too that's almost coming out soon, and that's Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars announced it a while ago. Jesse, you backed it. So right. It's like, but they continuously fed information. Communication is key here. They communicated throughout the whole process, sharing details of how things were going through the process. And then eventually they got to the date, and as more and more information came out, and as they got more comfortable, they eventually gave the information. People felt satisfied by the communications. Even when there was delays, there were still communications as to why there was delays. So that's what's frustrating. There's examples like this. If you don't know what to do, you don't need to recreate the wheel. Follow somebody else who did it right and do that. If you screwed up, come out. Speaking of Hatch Tales, you screwed up. Then come out and say, I'm sorry. I'm not good at this. I screwed up. We're trying our best to do what we can to make this the best game as possible. So please bear with me. Something.
Here's something too that really annoys me that companies have started doing too. And this is Dotemu has done this with the Shredder's Revenge DLC for Turtles. They'll show it and they'll go, coming this fall. And then they'll show a little bit more. It's still coming this fall. Then they'll show a little bit more. And it's like, oh, we know you're excited about it. And there's going to be a playable build at this game, but it's coming this fall. Do you think that that's in response to what we're seeing and what the disappointment that people are seeing? Because if you say fall, and fall is a broad term. Fall is like October through the 1st of, right? Through the 1st of December.
Yeah. Video games, fall is, it depends too, because in the fall and holiday are weird because it's not winter, but it's winter is January through March, right? So, but sometimes March can include spring. So video games is weird when it comes to calendar stuff. But yeah, I always look at it as October, November, December as fall. But if they say holiday, that means it's coming out before Christmas, but after probably Thanksgiving, right? Or something like that.
And I'm okay with games saying, "Hey, this game's announced in development. We think it'll be out in 2 years." I'm okay with that, but just leave it a broad deadline.
Yeah.
And then narrow it down as you think you're getting closer, and just
pointing at Sea of Stars as an example.
Exactly. Yeah, they did it right, and just like even looking at Nintendo, Tears of the Kingdom delayed, Animal Crossing delayed, and so from their original window, but they never. I don't think either of those games didn't have a firm date,
right?
Until they had the delayed window and then the new date,
right?
Which things like that I'm more fine with.
Yeah, and granted, it is hard to I want to say speculate, but there's probably a better word, how to guess the time frame of how long something's going to be done for. I deal with that all the time in my day job, so
same here. And lately, the issues. In fact, we had a project that was supposed to have UAT sign off Wednesday by end of day to release next week. We still don't have sign off yet, and it's not really a fault of our application. It's the fault of the back-end systems it talks to that we have no control over.
Yeah, there's always something.
But because of that, it is going to delay our release.
We had a delay too, and it's behind a couple sprints. So I completely understand.
And sometimes we're only going to lose a week over it, not a month, but still.
Well, and sometimes too, Jesse, what happens, and I'm sure you're aware of this too, is that somebody else puts a date on something without your input.
Oh, yeah.
And that could be the case in some of these instances too, where a publisher who's backing the developer may be pushing harder or something like that, my guess, and saying, okay, we want it out by, if we're going to continue to back you, we want it out by the end of, 2023 or 2022. and then they come in and say, well, it's not ready, we're gonna have to delay it. Then, you know.
And even our developers and business owners kind of go through similar conversations that we presume game developers and publishers are dealing with. It's like, we need to wrap this up so we can release it on end date. Here is a list of open bugs. Do we delay to fix them? Do we just accept them and then fix them later?
Yes.
Yeah, and we have these same conversations at work.
Yep. Yes. So it's totally understandable. It's just, I think it becomes frustrating when it's not just one developer we're hearing it from. We get a lot of developers or publishers telling us that they're going to delay something we were looking forward to as fans. And just, it's building up. And I'm afraid of the backlash of, like a lot of people are accepting, like you said, Marty, we're all accepting, or we're like, yes, we take that as much time as you need, as like Jesse said too. But then when does it become too much?
2 points as we kind of segue out of this. All right. Number one, I would say to this issue, it's not like we don't have anything to play. Right. Like, my backlog is atrocious. I'm never going to finish it all.
Right.
And so there's that. Number two, I think we need to accept that for next generation games, it takes longer programming time. It takes a longer dev cycle for next gen games.
Yeah.
And it's harder for those of us who have grown up in the 8-bit era, and maybe even the 16-bit and 32-bit era, to accept
and this
that.
Isn't new. Every generation adds more dev time. So
yes,
we went to, you can push, Atari, you can push out a game in 6 months with 1 or 2 people working on it. And then 8 to 16-bit era, you got small teams probably working 9 to 12 months, maybe 2 years at most. And now we get looking at 2 years as a minimum, and it's probably more like 4 to 5.
Yeah, I mean, there are things going on right now at your favorite developer that you don't even know about, and you won't know about, right? Until So I would just say, like, give yourself some grace. Give your favorite developer some grace, and go check out your backlog, because I bet you there's something there that you haven't finished yet. If it's like me, you've definitely not finished it yet, right? So there you go.
Right.
But that's a good segue into this next question. Do you want to save this, Tim? Do you think that we should save it?
I would say we could save it for next time.
Let's save it for next time. We'll just and you know what? We're not even going to tell you what it is. It's suspenseful. You just keep guessing.
If they read our notes that we post on Patreon, then they would know.
Then you would know. But you have to be a patron of the show to do that. You can do that by going.
No, they don't have to be. The notes are public.
Oh,
the weekly updates have been public. Since I took over Marty for the summer, been making them public.
Well, we'll keep that change moving forward. Let's go ahead and talk about some upcoming events then.
All right. So our upcoming events are, as usual, Discord community events. We have the table every third Friday of the month at 10 p.m. Eastern time. The community gets together at the table, which is otherwise known as a Discord voice chat room, to discuss whatever is on our minds. Movies, video games, made up stories, whatever. We just talk about it and have fun. And I think, did I make the last one? No, I did make the last one. So yeah, it was just shorter than usual, I think. So it just seemed like I missed it.
Yeah,
so
we joked as soon as Mecca hopped on. It's like, oh, time to go.
Right. We did stay out a little bit there. But yeah, it's That's every third Friday of the month. We used to have the breakfast table as well, but we weren't getting as much participation during that because everybody's got day jobs. But we may start that up again with different time and day. So we'll see what the community says and wants. Because I know a lot of people, especially in our different time zones over in the UK or even Australia, would prefer I do like a morning time here for us for morning, but for them it would be afternoon or something. So I'm looking at it. And of course, if anybody wants to participate that's in those time zones, by all means, please feel free to give me your feedback in our Discord if you're not already in there. Happy to accommodate those folks over there to have the ability to participate in a table event as well. We have summer game shows going on. Nintendo Summer Play Tour is still going on. Will be ending soon at the end of this month, if I remember correctly. But make sure you go check www.nintendo.com/events/play-events for details and locations of where they're still going on. There's also Gamescom Opening Night Live, August 22nd, and then Nintendo Live 2023 and PAX West going on Friday, September 1st through Monday, September 4th. And our very own Justin is going to be there at the Nintendo Live and /PAX West event. So if you're going to be there, make sure you let us know so we can tell you where to meet up with him at, and then you can say hi, maybe get a pic with him or something like that. Extra Life 2023 is in the planning stages for us, but we do have a Dads After Dark show event going on. Those guys over there have an event planned for August 19th, 2023 from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 12 hours of fun with the Dads After Dark show, guys. Not just those two, but also Coos and Hambone. So a couple of guests of the show that have been on there before. And if you've been in our Discord, and if you've seen some of our own videos, Hambone's done some for us too. He's going to be part of that event where you can watch them on Twitch. You can look for Dads After Dark show on Twitch and follow them right now so that you can get notified when they go live anytime. And then also for every $1 you donate, you get a lottery ball that will give you a shot at winning any of many prizes after the show is over. If you donate before the stream begins, August 19th, select one of the hosts of this event, such as John, Drew, Coos, or Hambone. And for every game that Dad wins during the stream, you will get an extra set of balls that give you 2 times, 3 times, 4 times more chances to win. My family donated and Sam picked Hambone. So hopefully we'll get some extra balls. Plus, watch the stream live and be ready to answer questions and accept challenges to win eShop cash. All donations during this event go to Children's Hospital in Aurora, Colorado. And if you want to donate, go to bit.ly/dads-in-denver-live to donate. And also stay tuned for any updates for any of what's going on for the Nintendo Dads for Extra Life and for Game Pass News and what they're going to be doing for their Extra Life campaign. That's it for the events. Let's go on to Jesse's Minute. If you've been listening...
I think I need to increase the volume of that one. That seems soft.
Little volume, maybe beats per minute. Update that. I don't know.
It sounded good for me.
It's good.
Okay.
It sounded great.
All right. So if you've been... I'll have to listen to it in recording to see how it compares with everything else.
If you've been listening, hopefully you have. You know that we changed Jesse's Pokeminute to Jesse's Minute because Jesse always has something interesting to talk about outside of just Pokemon. Plus, we figured we'd piggyback off of it and share our interesting topics too. But we always start with Jesse since it's his minute. What you got for us, Jesse?
Okay. So, as I talked about, I don't know if I talked about this last week at all, but we did talk about it in the Discord. But we're planning a camping event at the end of the month, and if you've listened to the show for a while, you know that I use a CPAP at night, and it's kind of hard to use a CPAP if you don't have electricity nearby. So, off and on over the past several years, I was researching like portable battery solutions for a CPAP, and I found one on Amazon that I thought sounded promising. It's like 72,000 milliamp hours. I didn't know no idea how much that converts to in time, in watt hours, but I gave it a try one night, and it only lasted 5 hours before it was dead. I'm like, oh, this isn't good. But then after doing some additional research, I'm like, oh, every site I'm seeing says to disable the humidifier, because it's basically a heating element that will heat up distilled water to help give you moisture in the airstream. But so I said, okay, well, I'll try it again another night with. I'm not going to add any water, and I'll shut off the heating element. And that night I was asleep for 9 hours, and not only did it last the entire night, the battery status still shows all 4 lights, so it did not use 25% of the battery. So
Nice.
so I could probably go 3 or 4 nights with this if I don't use it to also charge phones. And since go ahead.
I was going to ask, did you happen to get like solar panels or anything like that to help juice it up a little bit during the day?
I haven't yet, but the battery does support
A solar plug.
Up to 100-watt solar array,
Oh, nice.
then plugged into DC input to charge.
Cool.
So it's like something to look into for future use.
Okay.
But yeah, as long as I'm, so the upcoming weekend will be only a 2-night. So figured even with charging a phone or two, should be fine.
Cool. Can't wait to hear how that goes. Especially details on that battery.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The battery I found on Amazon was like $150. So
Nice.
Definitely cheaper than, the old solution, would be to look at, I forget the term, deep something marine battery. Basically, not a car battery that's designed to push out a lot of power in an instant, but it's designed, the marine batteries are designed to put out little power over time.
Okay.
And that's kind of like what the old solution was, but those are still like $500 or $600.
Right.
And you still need a rig, something to rig up to charge it and to discharge it. So
Friendo says deep cycle.
Deep cycle is the term, yes. No, and the thing that got this particular battery to my attention is one of its outputs is the 12-volt circle port like you have in your cars for a cigarette lighter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then the same company sells a transformer converting that 12-volt power into the 24-volt power that my CPAP needs.
Oh, okay.
So it's literally, plug this into the battery, plug this into the back of my CPAP.
Nice.
So it's not like going through a power inverter and using the 110-volt to 24-volt converter. So I'm just going from 12 to 24 directly.
Very nice.
So during that camping weekend, the reason why I'm going is it'll have archery events. And I've been saying that I've been getting back into archery again. So that'll be my first archery event with the SCA since 2019.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool that you're getting back into that.
Yeah, and then at the last SCA event, I got my AOA award, which is basically like the first award people get. They normally get them within a year or so. It took me 7. It's because I haven't been going to events outside of our own shire. But now that I've started to going to other events, my name's getting out there and people are noticing me.
Cool.
So I am now officially can be given the title Lord with this award.
I like that. Koopa Kid 80 says Jesse crossbow training.
Yep.
Where's that game? We need that one.
In fact, before I invested in my own archery equipment, I started by borrowing someone's crossbow at an event. And then I'm like, oh, I think I like this. So that's when I started looking into bows. And My wife has a recurve. I have a longbow, and we've invested in several dozens of arrows. I've made arrows in the past, but I haven't done that recently.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you posting pictures of those arrows you made.
I think I have
Very
a
cool.
set of arrows half completed, never finished them. All
Very
right,
cool.
so those are my updates.
Nice. Marty, do you have anything you want to share?
Yeah. So I am going to longtime fans of the show, and you may not care, but I don't care. It's my minutes.
Yes.
But longtime fans of the show may know that I'm a huge, or have fallen back in to being a huge pro wrestling fan, specifically of AEW, All Elite Wrestling. Relatively new wrestling promotion that does have a national television audience. They have 3 shows on right now, one on Wednesday nights, one on Friday, one on Saturday, Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision. And I am going to be at Dynamite live this coming Wednesday night, where they also tape Rampage, which they say is on Friday, but it's really on Wednesday, but it's pre-taped. Live from the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. And I'm going to be there with some fans of the show, some patrons of the show. Eric Plunk is going to be with me, and Mikey Burgett, who frequently writes in and everything, and some other folks. And we're going to go, me and my son and those guys, Eric and his family, and we're just going to have a big old time. And the cool part is we managed to get tickets. If you're watching, when you watch wrestling, it's the action's focused on the ring. It's typically shot, side to side, and they have what's called a hard cam on the side that's facing the ring. One of the sides facing the ring, and they don't seat people around that really, because it's a steady shot on the ring at all times. And we are going to be just to the right of the hard cam. So if there are shots that are kind of diagonal, you might be able to see us. We're in the first set of risers. I'll be wearing this shirt that says Danhausen, who is one of my favorites. Injured right now, unfortunately. But he's working on coming back. So I'm excited about going. I love going to live wrestling. If you've never been to if you're a fan of wrestling and you've never been to live wrestling, you need to go try it out. It's a little weird because you're used to the commentary, you're used to people talking while people are in the ring, but you also get to see some like fun little behind the scenes stuff, and we're going to go eat at someplace really nice, really good in Nashville, probably hot chicken. Justin will understand that. So we're going to be right downtown. So I'm excited about going to AEW. And this
What's
is
the name of the show again?
AEW Dynamite is their Wednesday night show. So, and for your old school WWE guys, if you've watched WWE for any period of time, if you watch, Chris Jericho's on there. Sometimes Jake the Snake Roberts shows up. They had Rob Van Dam on this past week because there's a guy who is currently the FTW champion. That's an old ECW callback from back in the day. Taz had the FTW world title made. And he's currently the FTW champion, won it from Taz's son. And he's like basically saying ECW guys were nothing. And so he's been confronted by a couple of them. Actually, fun fact, the guy who is the current FTW champion is named Jack Perry. He's Luke Perry, the actor. He's Luke Perry's actual son. And so it's just good. It's just fun. If you're a fan of wrestling, the reason I don't watch WWE anymore, just kind of got lame. It just feels kind of lame to me. And I feel like AEW really focuses on the actual in-ring wrestling. They have an agreement or kind of a working relationship with New Japan Wrestling. So they have a lot of New Japan guys in. And they do a pay-per-view once a year called Forbidden Door, where they It's like New Japan Pro Wrestling guys versus AEW guys. It's a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it. This will be my third live AEW show. We went back in June to a house show, which is just like a little tour that they do in Tupelo, Mississippi. And this will be our second time in Nashville. So, yeah, I've nerded out about wrestling for too long now. Tim, what about you? What are you nerding about this week?
I showed off the last time or talked about the Fixture S2, which is the updated fixture accessory you can get for your Nintendo Switch that allows you to mount your Switch screen to the top on using the rails to a Pro Controller. And then that way you use your Pro Controller instead of Joy-Cons when playing games. So I also had previously, I had the Fixture S1 on my original Switch. And when the OLED came out, that accessory didn't work anymore. It came with a case. So when I got the S2, I was able to still use the case. Now, the problem, though, with Fixture's case is that, one, it fits everything nicely with just those things, the Pro Controller, the accessory, and the screen itself. There is a little pocket, but it doesn't feel right when I close it. Like, I feel like I'm going to break something if I, drop it or something like that. Even though it's protected, I'm sure they designed it well. I just feel uncomfortable about it, and it didn't sit well. So I looked for another option for a case for it, and I looked on Amazon, just searching up different Switch cases, and there isn't necessarily anything out there made for that combination of things. But I did find one thing. I got this case right here from Devaso, Devaso. It's like a hard shell case, almost looks like a gun case for some people who are into guns and stuff. But it has foam on the inside, and it holds everything very well. So I'll open it up and show you guys on screen here if you're watching. But it has compartments to hold what I was talking about, my controllers, my Pro Controller, and the screen. So right here, just take it out for those who are watching. It fits the Pro Controller, the Fixture S2, and the screen inside the foam very nicely. But what's nice is this also holds all the accessories I want to carry too, which is my battery, my EPOS earbuds that I use all the time. It holds about 10 games. And then the other thing that the other case didn't do is it could hold my Joy-Cons, which I can put on the side. So it's a very nice case. I think it was $20. Was pretty good. I got it on sale, I think, too. So
can you put a link to that in the show notes for people who might want to get that?
For sure, I could do that. Yep. So
that would be awesome.
I was actually going.
I want one.
Nice. Yeah, I was. I'm gonna actually do a video on it too.
Seriously, like back a couple weeks ago.
Yes, I got it on Amazon.
Okay, send me the link ago, and I'll add it to the description.
When we were doing all that traveling a couple weeks ago, that a hard case for my Switch would have been really cool to have. I would have felt a lot better. I mean, I had I've got a little thin line Zelda case that I have right now, but I wanted to take my dock and all that stuff. So it was just like in a Walmart sack in the back of the car. That would have been great to have.
This case is very nice because there are bigger ones, obviously, so you can bring everything like the dock and all that kind of stuff. But this was nice because I don't necessarily need my dock. It holds all that stuff I talked about, but it will also hold the reason why I got it is because it was meant for you putting your whole Switch in there across, regular full size OLED across with the Joy-Cons on. You can lay it across the top there, but underneath there's enough room for you to put your Pro Controller. So you can take that with you. But that's why I got it, because it sits nice in that foam to where it's still the Pro Controller connected to the accessory and the screen still sits all nice and it's protected by the foam. And then enough room on the sides for me to still carry those Joy-Cons, like I said. So, but like I said, I'm going to do a video on that showing off.
The brand name again?
The brand name was Devaso, Devaso. But I'll
That's
share
very
that
cool.
link too if you didn't find it. I'll share that link, and I'll just look back at my orders.
Yeah, and I'm
Very
going to
cool.
put the link to the battery and the power adapter into the description and notes as well.
Okay. Yep. So that's what I wanted to share. And like I said, I'll do a video because I'm going to show the video how I got currently set up, but I want to show how it holds a normal setup if you're not using a fixture S2. And then that way people can, maybe pick one up for themselves. So that's it for me. Let's move on to what we've been playing.
Do it.
All right, Jesse, what you been playing?
Right, so I started 2 games. I started both of them were started yesterday, so I'm not very far in them. First, I'll talk about the Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. That was released on NSO a few weeks ago. Finally got around to starting it. Yeah, so this and the Ages game are like 2 of the 3 Zelda games I've never completed. I finished every other mainline Zelda game, with the third one being Triforce Heroes, which I'll probably never play. That one to completion. But yesterday I got into the second dungeon and I got stuck, and I have a feeling that every other time I've tried playing this and I got stuck, I just stopped. So I did look in a walkthrough to find out, there's the one path that I forgot to look is the path I needed to take. So yeah, I'm currently in the middle. I just starting the third dungeon right now, and this is an older style 2D Zelda. So instead of it being 3 dungeons, then something happens, and then you have more dungeons afterwards, this is more like Link's Awakening style. It's do all the dungeons, and then there's a final boss. So here, I think there's 8. At least there's 8 things you need to collect. So you can being originally on a Game Boy Color, it was definitely a smaller scope game. And I've never, apparently there's a code that it can generate that I can then enter into the other game for things to happen. I've never gotten that far, so I don't know what happens. So maybe we'll talk about that in a future episode. Then the other game I started was the Pokemon trading card game that dropped yesterday. I remember when this was new, I think I played through it and I think I beat it. But then I picked it up on the 3DS Virtual Console, didn't get far into it. So I'm not sure how far I'll get into this one. But one thing that keep in mind is you're going to have to do a lot of grinding. Because every time you beat an opponent, you get 2 booster packs, which only gives you 20 cards total. I think if you might get 3 booster packs for beating the gym boss, but I don't remember. I only beat 1 so far. And then, so, I started off with a Charmander deck, which still gives you 3 colors, which is not a good way to start, especially if you're learning the game. You don't want to start with a 3-color deck. So I was able to trim it down to a 2-color deck. I think I chose fire and electricity. And then with that, I went to the grass gym or club, I think they call it, and finished that. And for every person I defeated, I got some boosters. But I don't have enough cards yet to build a good grass deck to go to the rock and the water clubs. So I'm going to have to grind out cards and booster packs in a while to get enough cards to be meaningful. And there's one NPC in the starting lab area that you can battle just to get booster pack of energy cards, which you're going to need a lot of energy cards if you're going to be building multiple decks. The game does allow have these machines that will generate pre-constructed decks for you, presuming you have the cards to do it. which I don't have any. I don't have enough cards yet to do that. And you're able to hand tweak your own deck to do what you want, and then you're able to save that configuration, so it's easy to pull it back out later.
When you have the machine create a deck for you, are there parameters you give it, or is it
No, it
spit something
goes,
out? Or...
It'll spit out a fixed deck.
Okay.
It says, and if you don't have enough cards, it'll say you need these cards in order to build this deck.
Okay,
And,
so you just say build me a deck, and it builds you a deck, or do you say I want a blue deck, or not blue? But...
So yeah, when you defeat each club, you'll get a medal, and then you go into the lab room that has all these machines on it, and you find the machine that pairs with that medal. And then, so in my case, I have a grass one, so I can use it to make a grass-based deck.
Okay.
If I had all of the cards to do it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there's one of these. There's a machine.
I don't remember that machine when I played.
Yeah, I don't remember this either. Maybe I never used it, and
yeah,
hand built all my decks at the time.
Right.
But yeah, so definitely going to be a lot of grinding, and then you do this for 8 clubs. That gives you access to the equivalent of the Elite Four. And basically, the ultimate goal is to get the legendary cards,
Nice.
Which also kind of is a Yu-Gi-Oh throwback. Reminded me of that, like the Egyptian god cards.
But this game,
Pokemon.
Didn't it come out before Yu-Gi-Oh?
It was around the same time, but the card game was, well,
the card game
in Japan, I think they are about the same time. I think they were both around in '99. It just didn't really make it into, Yu-Gi-Oh didn't make it into North America until like 2001.
Okay.
But they have their starts around the same time.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll ask after you.
Okay. I was going to say this card uses base game cards and cards from the first 2 expansions. And you'll see like a flower petal if it's part of one expansion, or like a bone claw if it's part of the second expansion. So, back in the day, I remember these cards. I had these cards, but, 22 years later, they're fuzzy. I vaguely remember them as now compared to how, when they were new. But this game also has cards specifically designed for the game, and you'll see like a GB logo in its place for its expansion.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would love to see this, and let me know if you think so too. But like I mentioned before, when you brought up this game was coming out, or that it was out, that a updated version with the new rules out to be able to play Pokemon trading game in story mode like this game does, not necessarily like you do online against other people. Although I do want to be able to play other people. When you build the deck, be able to play other people.
Yeah.
But I would like to see a new version, and I think it would be great on the Switch, especially with the touchscreen.
There's some money on the table.
I know.
It literally, like if it could be a free to start type thing, because we know the Pokemon company loves money.
Oh yeah.
Like it's free to start. Why? Like Magic can do it. Magic's got and I would love to play Pokemon, but
I think it would be so cool to be able to play it on the Switch. They could even do it to where, I mean, they already have it to where you can play it on mobile. Be a trainer and play, collect cards and all that kind of stuff. Not necessarily like
there's no story mode.
Yeah. That's the part I want still. So that's why I'm like, bring it to the Switch, bring story mode, but also have those elements you do have already on the mobile side, and combine the two. So where you can play the story mode, build up your decks, almost kind of like Magic the Gathering on Arena, where you can play through a story mode and collect colors, and there's a little bit of a story mode there too. But I just it would work. It seems like you said, Marty, money on the table. What is going on? Why don't these companies do these things?
I think the biggest issue is, which expansion, which sets to include, because I've been out of the TCG scene for a while. So
Yeah.
I don't know, because as new sets are released, they kind of retire older sets. So they make the cards, illegal in tournament play.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Obviously, in casual play, it's FFA. It's a free for all.
Right.
But so they would definitely want to have some sort of limit. They can't have 10,000 cards available.
Yeah,
because
that makes sense.
The balance would be off. You still have to have a balanced game, otherwise it's not fun.
Yeah.
But if they have a set that's considered a new base set and then expansions on top of that,
yeah,
go 2 or 3 expansion sets, they'll probably have then a similar set of scope of cards as you do in this game. It's just with Pokemon that aren't just Gen 1.
Got it. All right. Thanks, Jesse. How about you, Marty? What you been up to in the gaming world?
So I've been playing a couple games I can't talk about yet. We've got videos coming out this week. They both released this week. I'll tell you the name of them, but I can't talk about them. Moving Out 2 comes out this week, and I've got a video for it going to be coming out on our channel over at YouTube on the day of release. Also, Vampire Survivors is out this week on the Nintendo Switch. And speaking of Vampire Survivors, I've been able to play a similar game, but one that is definitely themed different, that's out right now and actually they're the same price. They're both $5 at release. Brotato, which is a roguelike survival shooter where you play as a ever-evolving potato taking on hordes of slug-like enemies and seeing how long you can last.
That's fantastic.
And so I like this originally, grabbed my interest when the Indie Direct showed it off. It's been out on PC for a while, but it's actually fairly, it's got some legs to it. It can be fairly complex. So you start the game with a single weapon. If you survive that round, you're able to spend your earnings on things that upgrade the body of your potato. So you can upgrade your lungs and have more HP regeneration, or you can upgrade your legs and move faster. You can also buy weapons. That's the second part between each round. And those weapons, there's 2 categories. There's items and weapons. You can hold 6 weapons at a time with certain potatoes. There are potatoes like you unlock, and they're like the crazy potato or the mutated potato or this. And there's all kinds of different rules that go along with them, like modifiers. But the base, like the well-rounded potato, you can hold like 6 weapons. And all you do in this game is move around. You don't have to press a button. All the weapons, fire periodically. They're on cooldowns. The items can help with that. You can also be things that you get a suit of armor or a helmet. And now your potato looks like a knight, or it has a crown, and you get more experience when you pick stuff up after enemies are killed. But where this game differs from others is there's a strategic element in what you pick. Like comparing it to Vampire Survivors, you're just playing and you're you'll level up and you'll get 3 options that you can do. Yeah. In this one, you level up, but the levels don't correlate to rewards that you get. They just make you more powerful.
Okay.
You get rewards at the end of every round. You just have to buy them. You have to have earned enough money. Right. And you can stack that money and you can stockpile it several rounds and buy different things. You can even re-roll and get new stuff to choose from. But where it differs is that the weapons that you get, if you have 2 of the same weapon and they're the same level, you can combine them into a more powerful weapon, like the next level. Like if you have 2 knives, you can go to knife level 2 by combining the 2 of those.
Oh yeah, okay.
Then you can buy another one. Okay. So you're constantly evolving. Like okay. You'll throw some items away, you'll do this, and then there's, in the midst of you fighting off these monsters, which are getting more and more plentiful with every round. And each round's only 30 seconds long, which doesn't sound like a long time, but when your screen is full of these purple slug things. And
Yes.
some of them are charging at you. Some of them are just moving around. Some of them are shooting stuff. It gets really hectic. Where the difference is there's these trees that grow. And if you cut down the trees, like if you attack the trees, they'll eventually fall over and they'll leave behind something that'll give you more life, or they'll leave a present. And that present can either be at the end of the round, you can take the present and add it to your growing list of items, which also stack. You can't combine items, but you can stack them. Like you can get 2 helmets, 3 helmets, 4 helmets, and the bonus goes up. If you add, you can either add these, what you get from the tree to your items, or you can sell it for money. You can recycle it.
Okay.
So there's this constant, I want to say it's even like Dead Cells-ish, because like with Dead Cells, like you're constantly making decisions about what to keep, what not to keep, how to move forward. It's really fun. The music, I mean, it's not like game of the year or anything, but this is a game. It very much has a one more round type feel to it.
Those games usually do,
and you're constantly unlocking stuff. So it's been really good. The other game I've been playing is Tiny Thor, which I know Justin has talked about some, and it's just there's a video up on our channel. Justin does a preview of it. If you like fun, well-made but difficult platformers, Tiny Thor is for you. And it says at the very beginning of the game, it's like this is a difficult game. This is a hard game, but there's modifiers you can choose. But even without using the modifiers, I didn't find it any more difficult than a regular Mega Man game. So it definitely, I mean, there's definitely a challenge. So it's there. So if you're into that, it's a really cool thing. I think it's really well made.
Nice.
So yeah, those are the 4 games I've been playing, 2 of which I can't talk about.
All right. Thanks, Marty. All right. So before we get into my games, I just want to read a note that Justin put in here for us. He's played Pikmin 4. Pikmin. How's that? Pikmin 4 and finished the main game, now in post game. And he asked, why is it post game? Feels like a weird break in the game. Jesse? He's got question marks next to your name.
Yeah, so where I there's several things he can be talking about here. Multiple things happen in post game. I don't, we were talking. Marty and I was talking in pre-show whether is it spoiler time yet? It's obviously like Tears of the Kingdom 3 months in, we're still not talking spoilers just because the game's so huge. This game definitely not that big. So I don't know if we want to talk spoilers yet or not, but
probably not. But maybe we'll save it for when Justin's on and post pre-show or something like that. You guys can talk about it there.
Yeah. So I think I know what he's asking about, but not 100% sure. But either way, it would probably be spoilery.
Okay.
If it's what I think it is.
Fair enough. Well, good on him for finishing it too, because I know he's been busy. Part of the reason why he can't be on the show, or it could be the aliens abducted him. Those UFOs have been around
again.
So, good point. Maybe there's something to that. I don't know.
Maybe he's abducting the aliens this time.
All right. All right. I've been playing one I can't talk about either. Quantum Recharged. It is an Atari game, one of those recharged games, which comes out on the 17th. So look out for that video when that drops for that. And then I'll be able to talk about it, I think, next week's show. I also got to play GigaBash. I'll be dropping a video on my first look of that, which is very interesting because, so let me say this. GigaBash is based on hopefully I'm pronouncing this right, kaiju game.
Yeah.
So giant monsters.
Like Godzilla and King Kong.
Yes. So you're using it to fight other giant monsters in a city or in environments where you can destroy things. There's even a small story mode. I got to play the story mode in my first look, which was awesome. You're a giant monster. You're throwing tanks at other tanks and destroying buildings, and it's exactly what I wanted out of it. But the other part I wanted was it offers you to play against other players online, monster versus monster, especially in a city where you can pick up buildings and throw buildings at other monsters. And just it sounded like a blast to me, which it is, except for I, at the time of recording, could not find anybody to play against online with the Switch one. Right now, they're currently working on doing cross-play between Switch and Xbox, but they haven't released that yet, so I don't know if that will help. And because I was recording at midnight, I don't know if people playing that game just aren't enough to be on at the time I was testing or playing. And it was kind of frustrating, but I did discover there is another mode where I could play just by myself, going through and destroying cities and stuff like that. So I'm going to goof around a little bit more. That was my first look on it. That video will be dropping, I think, at the time the podcast is dropping, or at least the same day. So, but check back soon there on our YouTube channel for that video, my first look of that. I also did a first look of unidentified falling objects, talking about UFOs, but this one's called Unidentified Falling Objects. I did a first look of that, which that game will be dropping soon as well. Sorry, I was trying to find the date. So that came out the 9th. So actually that video should be out already. I think I could show off. Yeah, that video is out already. Sorry, because I was able to show off the first 2 levels of that, but I couldn't get past the tutorial.
One of those games.
It's one of those games, yes, where it was like because the object of the game is you got these blocks that drop down. They're just one blocks. They're not like Tetris like shapes or anything like that. They're just one blocks that drop down, different colors, but blocks. And then there's also some obstacles that drop down. But what you can do is you can kick the blocks. You're this little guy who can kick the blocks across the board, whatever way you want to kick them, to help match it up with your other matching blocks of the same color. Or you can shoot them. And of course, if there's more together, you can shoot. The more points you get, more combos. Excuse me. But in order to get past the tutorial, you have to do a certain amount of destroying things and kicking things and clearing these blocks out. And I just couldn't get the strategy yet to be able to get past the tutorial even. The tutorial is very quick. It just tells you, basically how you can kick, how you can shoot, how you can jump, and move around. It's very addicting game. It's pretty fun. It's just now I'm getting to the point where it's frustrating because it's like, okay, maybe it was because I was doing the video and trying to concentrate on talking at the same time. I couldn't focus. But it's something.
Is it as bad as Patrick's Parabox in terms of mental gymnastics?
No, it's not actually. That is definitely more mental gymnastics than this game is. It just maybe it will be once I figure out the strategy to this, because it's like I got to figure out there's some sort of strategy there, obviously, and I just haven't figured it out yet. When's the right time to kick a block? When's the right time to shoot them out? And you do get power-ups that help you as well. Either you get a shield to help you, because if you can't get hit by blocks, you got to watch out for the falling blocks so you don't get hit and squashed or anything like that. You also get a power-up for your gun to be able to shoot faster. You get unlockables eventually to where you can get new guns. You get trophies depending on how far you get in the game. It's just I haven't been able to experience any of that stuff yet. So first look was just basically, again, showing off my struggle with the tutorial. But I'm hoping that I can get a little bit farther in the game and maybe do a let's play. if you're better at these type of games than I am, there is a demo for you to try out. So you could go try it out yourself and tell me what I'm doing wrong. That would be very helpful.
It's a test to see if you can pass the tutorial.
Yes. So do the demo, see if that helps. And then tell me, what am I doing wrong?
I'll download that demo.
All right. The other game that I've been playing that I am extremely excited for that we got on the Nintendo Switch, the closest that I'll get to a classic Madden football game is Legend Bowl for the Nintendo Switch. It is as I said, it's basically plays like, to me, this plays like a classic Madden game from the mid to late 90s. Game that I played on the Super Nintendo, or even the earlier PlayStation ones, I think. So just, they also say it's a successor to Tecmo Bowl, but there's some people arguing that it's maybe not so close to Tecmo Bowl, but definitely more closer to the classic Madden or even the ESPN games from back in the day, or the NFL games, quarterback games, stuff like that. But it plays really well. It is a simulation game through and through, simulation football. But it does have ways for you to set it to be more arcadey. And that's what I like, is I could switch some things so that I can have a little bit more fun. My first looked at the exhibition portion of it and some of the settings, sharing some of the things that I was taking a look at the first time during my first look video. And then last night, in fact, I did a stream of setting up the franchise mode where you can customize your own coach. You can get a team. You can even customize the team if you want. You can customize players. I didn't dive into all that. I did select my coach and customize a coach and call him Timmy. So, yeah, it's all kind. The franchise mode is really cool because you're the coach. You're setting up your rosters, setting up your players. Eventually, you got to get through a season and build up your team. You customize your stadium. You get money to where you can add things to your stadium, training facilities. And I'm trying to remember, there's some other third thing as well that you get money to put money towards to help you increase your abilities on your team. Eventually, part of the game is you have to deal with the press. So you'll have to do that. I haven't reached that point yet. Just started my season for that. And then also you have to deal with players wanting to retire or leave or be traded, or you want to trade them. And eventually when you start a new season, you'll have the draft to deal with. So if you like American football and been wanting a straight up American football game, although this is not the NFL, this is the next best thing, and highly recommend this game. And this also has a demo. So if what I'm saying doesn't do it for you, you can go try out the demo and see if it's anything like what you were hoping for as well, as much as I was. So that's Legend Bowl for the Nintendo Switch. Right now it's $21.24 on the US eShop, 15% off until the end of August. So you can pick that up there. Then the last game that I have on deck, it's out now, that we have a review code for, is Frank and Drake. It is a narrative story game adventure. And I'll just read the description because I'm just learning about it myself, but I wanted to check it out. Frank and Drake is a modern gothic tale that puts players at the heart of a supernatural mystery through its non-linear branching paths, mini games and puzzles, and unique rotoscoped art. Take your time, explore, and soak up every word.
So it's not about a hot dog and a duck?
No. So it's again, I'm looking forward to checking this out, and I'll be doing a first look of this video too as well as soon as possible. Probably over the next few days I'll do a recording and drop the video. But we got a lot of videos dropping in our YouTube channel lately too, because we're all cranking out a bunch of first looks and all these games that we want to check out and want to share with you guys. So make sure you go and check out our YouTube channel and see if there's anything on there that piques your interest, especially like Marty said, he's got a couple more videos dropping within the next week. So just keep on coming. All right, that's it for what we've been playing. Let's move on to the community spotlight. All right. So first shout out to everybody who's been stopping by during the chat, during our recording of the podcast. Like Mo Spankins, Nimfrendo, and Antes, has been a while since he stopped by. So thanks, Glitches. BB Cervez has been here, and Nimfrendo, Miz, Darth Platypus, Christian, who left us a voicemail. We'll get to hear from him shortly. And then we had who else?
Mecca.
Mecca's in there. I already said most Spankins, right? So
Yep.
just seeing if there anybody new came in there. So, and in case anybody noticed, Marty did drop off. He's like he said at the beginning, has been feeling under the weather. So good night, Marty. Thanks for hanging out with us this far into it. And he did leave us answers to the community questions. So we'll get to his answers, plus some of Justin's too, along with mine and Jesse's. First up, we've got Jamie JDP Cart 18's question. What song from a Nintendo game resonates with you the most? Jesse, you got one?
Yeah, I think I have it even queued up here. This is Celus's theme from Final Fantasy VI, of which it gets it gets remixed into the Opera House scene.
Nice.
So this is like my favorite song of all time.
Definitely beautiful. Hopefully we don't get a copyright claim on that.
Yeah,
Everybody wants their money.
Yeah,
but
we'll find out.
That works though. That is nice. Mine, I mentioned this in the Discord because I had to put a link in there. Is Metroid Prime menu music. I put it in our Discord in case you want to hear it there. But it's the same music you hear in the remaster version. So if you got that, when you go to the menu, I hear that in my head whenever it's, you get that earworm going. I'll hear that and it just goes, and I'm fine with it. I love that. I love that music in there, especially on even my. I even like the one that's on Metroid Samus Returns. Let's see if I can play it here. You can hear it a little bit here.
I cannot hear it.
Can't hear it. Maybe my background noise is blocking it.
Yeah,
but anyways,
it's getting muted.
It's it's in the Samus Returns game on the Switch, and then also if you got the theme that you used to be able to put on the 3DSs, I got the Metroid theme on there, and it's that great music there too. So that's what resonates with me. Marty put Dr. Wily Castle 1 from Mega Man 2, and then Super Mario Brothers 1 Overworld are his songs that resonate with him. So great choices by everybody. Justin didn't put anything, which is fine. Aliens do that. It's okay. All right. 16-bit Nomad said, I don't know if you guys remember the game Genie from back in the day, but I have a lot of fond memories of using mine with Bayou Billy, Cobra Triangle, and Hyde Light on the NES. The game Genie let my young self get past a lot of the difficult areas. So if a game Genie appeared, it would grant you one video game wish. What would you ask for? Jesse, what would you ask for?
I wish I still had my hand-drawn Zelda maps that I drew when I was a kid.
That's a good one.
They were very detailed. I wish I still had them.
That is a good one. I actually stumbled upon some of the notes I had for Twisted Metal in one of my books, and I was like, "Oh, cool." But I can't find any of the maps I drew either, so that would be cool if that was a thing.
I had maps drawn for all 18 dungeons, both quests, full details of which walls can be blown, which walls can be walked through in quest 2, things like that.
Right.
What items drop in each room.
My wish would be to read and speak Japanese so that I could play all those cool Japanese games.
Yep.
And then even go to Tokyo and be able to, read and speak that stuff over there. So Marty's was unlimited retro gaming. And then Justin put, wish I didn't sell my retro console and collections. So Justin, Marty, Jesse, even your retro maps. And then I would play a lot of the Japanese retro games. So there's a lot of retro answers there. Retro Logic would be proud of us. All right. BB Cerveza asks, with all the video game to television show adaptions like The Last of Us, Twisted Metal, etc., what is one game you would like to see be made into television series other than Zelda?
Well, Marty said Final Fantasy IV, and I like that answer. So I think will go with Final Fantasy VI, being that one my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Nice. Well, my answer is the same as Justin's, and that is Metroid. Give us Metroid. I would even take it in the way they did the Castlevania one on Netflix. That would be awesome.
Oh, that's like that. The Richter show is supposed to be out soon too. I'm looking forward to that.
They need to finish up their Castlevania stuff so they can start working on Metroid stuff. All right. On the flip side, what television series would you like to see be made into a video game?
This is going to be a convoluted answer. Do you remember the CW DC shows? They had like 6 of them at one point, probably more.
Okay.
So they had a big crossover event with every show for Crisis on Infinite Earths. I'd like to see that done as a game.
Okay. That would be cool. What kind of game?
Probably like a platformer brawler mix. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe some strategy in there, but I don't like strategy as much. There's several ways you can go if you have an army of like 20 heroes and then even more villains.
Okay. Got it. I picked The Mandalorian, a Metroidvania Mandalorian game. I think that would be fun. And then
you have to go with the Grogu.
Yes. And then another way you could put it too. I just thought of this right now, and that's why I didn't put it down. But you could have the Mandalorian and Grogu in the style of Donkey Kong Country game.
Wow.
Right? That'd be crazy. All right, Marty said Lost, which I wonder what style of game that would be. Would that be like a narrative, like a Telltale game?
Maybe. I don't know, but I saw Justin's answer and I'm like, okay, that's a bad answer.
Justin's answer is The Last of Us. That's funny. That is a great idea.
He put a winky face. He did put a winky face by it.
Last of Us would be a great video game. They should do that. All right. So the next question, the great question by BB, by the way. So Darth Platypus, what games do you think are in contention for the game of the year so far? Justin puts Tears of the Kingdom. Does anything else have a chance? Marty also put Tears of the Kingdom, and apparently Baldur's Gate 3, even though it's only been out a week.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I really haven't been up on games releasing outside of Switch, so I kind of don't know. I don't know if Hogwarts Legacy got good scores. I know there was a lot of controversy from just jerks online involved in it, but I think Marty's played the game. I haven't had a chance to play it. I still have the rental copy from GameFly that I'm still paying for. I probably bought the game by now had I just, but
Final Fantasy 16 has been talked about.
Yeah, that's true.
There's potential ones.
Diablo 4.
Yes, that's another one. Yeah, so far, we'll just talk about so far, because obviously there's potential for others that are coming later in the year. But yeah, we'll keep it to what's out so far.
Apparently, Baldur's Gate is 1 point above Tears of the Kingdom in Metacritic, but it's doing it with 14 reviews versus 150-ish reviews. So
right.
As more reviews comes in, it might go down. Too soon to tell.
Yes. We'll see. What else did I see on here? Yeah, that's what people are putting down so far. Oh, Street Fighter. Somebody said Street Fighter 6.
Oh yeah, that one. I've heard
Star Wars Jedi Survivor, maybe. Hogwarts Legacy, maybe. I don't know. I think it's going to be tough against what appears to be. I think Final Fantasy 16 has an potential, but Tears of the Kingdom, and it looks like
from Nintendo, I think Tears of the Kingdom is really the only game in the show here.
Baldur's Gate 3 has potential of. I would say Baldur's Gate 3 would be in the category when you're talking about Game Awards show, like Game of the Year category. I would think Baldur's Gate 3 is in there. Tears of the Kingdom's there. And then we'll see if Starfield is as good as we all hope it will be. And we'll be there. And
that one just, it's going to be either amazing or amazingly destructive.
Right. And then the other one possible is Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Spider-Man.
So we'll see.
My son's actually looking forward to that one. He platinumed the original Spider-Man and Miles Morales to prepare for Spider-Man 2.
Nice. As you do. I don't know. Actually, that's a question I was thinking about too, is like, can you burn yourself out preparing for a game though? Like he did as he played all
I'd
this
say
stuff?
I definitely can.
Yeah.
He has more tolerance for things like that.
Okay. It's like, okay, I played all these games. I don't want to play the new one now.
Yeah, well, just he still does fire up his Pokemon, and he got his Mew. Where I said, I don't care. I don't plan on touching that game again.
I'm actually thinking about firing it up, but I don't know. I'm thinking about it to get that Mew. All right. Great question, Darth Platypus. Next up, we've got Hoots, who asked, do you guys have any white whales on your backlogs? Games you want to play but haven't mustered the courage to start, or maybe a game you've bounced off of and that you still want to give another shot? Justin put The Witcher and Xenoblade games. Marty has Persona 5 and The Witcher 3. What do you got, Jesse?
One game that comes to mind is I wanted to play through Dragon Quest XI again in 2D mode. Basically as the game would have been played on the 3DS. But, I did download it on Xbox so I can play it there, but never got around to it. I think it's now available on PlayStation, through the service that I can download, and that I still own the game on Switch too. So many ways I could do it. I just haven't found the time to do it because, again, it took me 120 hours to play it the first time.
Gotcha.
it could be faster in 2D because there's less walking, but then of course it also might require more grinding because there's less travel. So I don't know which way it can go. It might balance out.
Gotcha. For me, there's probably few games I would love to be able to get to on the PlayStation 5. I'm trying to remember. One that sticks out that I had to look up to make sure I got the name right was Roller Drome that came out last year in August. It's basically, you're on rollerblades, but you got guns and you're shooting people. So
As you do.
Post-apocalyptic type thing kind of gave me kind of like Running Man vibes, with the game type of thing and stuff in that area. But that was one I would love to jump back into, but never did. I'm just trying to remember what else is on my PlayStation. It's like, oh man, I'd love to be able to play that, just get through it. But probably anything on my PlayStation 5 right now, because I just don't sit down in front of it.
Well, again,
enough.
I still have Hogwarts Legacy to play. I
Yeah.
still have Final Fantasy VI to play on the Switch. Final Fantasy V if I get around to it. So there's still many games out there. Not including buying new games.
For if you're a PlayStation Plus member and you're interested in Sea of Stars, we're getting that day one. And
it's also day one on Xbox. Game Pass.
So you're getting Game Pass too. So, but if you don't have both, you only got one, then you gotta, if you play it there. And especially if you don't want to play it on the go and you buy it. You would play it on the Switch, but it's like, okay, I can play it as part of, I don't have to buy it right away. I can play it there on the PlayStation. So it's like, because I did that with Stray when we got Stray, because I was really wanting to play that. And I did, and I played it and beat it, but it was a shorter game. And I don't think Sea of Stars is going to be a short game.
No,
not as long as say Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, but it's going to be, it's an RPG.
Yeah, I think Sea of Stars is the first game that's being day one on both Xbox and PlayStation in their service.
Nice.
I don't think any other game's done that before.
That is one. It's not in my backlog, but it's in my. I hope it doesn't end up in my backlog because I really want to play that game.
But now we're getting Wrestler Quest and Sea of Stars in the same week or a week apart.
Oh yeah.
That's why I was hoping for Wrestler Quest to land on the 8th.
Right.
To give me time to play that before.
That's crazy. So it's just like the whole thing with the delay with Baldur's Gate on the PlayStation. So now it's Baldur's Gate versus Starfield between the PlayStation and the Xbox. So I was interested in both, but now it's like I think Starfield's beating out for me to try that there on the Xbox. That one I will have to buy because I don't have Game Pass and I'm just buying those particular games. So, and the same would have been with Baldur's Gate 3, which, by the way, we have a friend of the show because Sam, Third Strongest Mole, he's on the Retro Logic show. He's one of the hosts there, and also does streaming for Retro Logic. He picked up Baldur's Gate 3 on the PC, and he's looking for players to play with. So if anybody out there in the Nintendo Dads world is looking for players on the PC, because there's no cross-platform right now, if I understand it correctly, and there won't be, at least at this point, maybe later on down the line. But anyways, if you're playing on PC, Baldur's Gate 3, and you're looking to play with somebody, come to our community and jump in our PC stuff channel and see if you want to hang out and play with Sam over there. And maybe there's some other players out there. We can get together and do that kind of thing. And who knows, maybe if there's enough people over there, maybe that'll coax me to go pick it up on PC and say, screw PlayStation, screw Xbox, I'm going to get it on PC. All right. Great questions, of course, again, from Hoots. And he did follow up and say, how many questions is too many for the podcast? I don't know. We've never reached that point. There were times where the show went long and we had to hold questions to the next show. But I don't know. Maybe our community can test us. I just put out a challenge.
That's a bold statement.
Right. All right. For the last question, at least the written one, we have one more from voicemail after this one, but some block. Jesse, you got the voicemail, right?
Yep.
Okay. So Zablonk's question, though, before we get to that, is greetings from Ohio, where the family and I are going to Cedar Point tomorrow. Question for you guys. What's your all-time favorite amusement park ride, and at which park can we find it? Justin put Space Mountain. Marty put Slinky Dog Dash and Rise of the Resistance at Walt Disney World. And
that's what that means.
Yes. And in case nobody knows what Cedar Point is, shame on you. You should know what Cedar Point is because it's the roller coaster capital of the world, in my opinion. you like roller coasters, you go to Cedar Point. So Jesse, do you have a favorite ride?
I think I've driven by there. I'm not a fan of amusement parks in general, but when I was a kid, I do remember liking like a water log.
Yes.
Your type of ride. I think they just called it the Flume. This was at Valley Fair in the Twin Cities area in Minnesota.
Yes.
That's like the one thing I can remember. I think the Flume was was at Valley Fair. Either that or Mall of America, one of the two. They both had a similar type of ride, but
Cedar Point has one too. It's the log ride essentially, and actually they closed that one. Now they got a bigger one. It's called like Snake Mountain or something like that, where you just go around, you get up on a big steep hill, and then it drops you down and water everywhere. You're soaked. So,
yep,
that they've updated it to that. So, and Busch Gardens had something similar too. I remember riding it there. So. But for me, it's at Cedar Point. It used to be Magnum, because that was like the I want to say the 200-foot roller coaster ride with the big drop and stuff like that, and I loved it. And then they came out with the Millennium Force later, and that's my new favorite because bigger drop, like 300 something feet or something like that. And then now they used to have the Top Thrill Dragster ride, which went 400 feet, which basically it shot you out and you went up and around just this giant 400-foot straight drop, essentially, or what felt like a straight drop. It went straight up, around, and straight back down 400 feet. And that was the ride. But they closed it because they're upgrading it to Top Thrill Dragster 2, where you get shot out, you go up and you stop and you come back down and go backwards to another high peak, and then you go really fast up around 400 feet, back around, and you're done. So they added a little bit more to it. That comes out in 2024. So who knows? Maybe that'll be my new favorite if I eventually get to Cedar Point, because there's a couple new ones over there, like the Maverick, and although I forgot about the Raptor. That is another one of my favorites. That is the one where your feet are dangling, if I remember correctly, the Raptor, and you're flying through the sky essentially. That might be my favorite, actually, the Raptor. So, but that is an awesome question. Thanks for that one, Zablanc. That was a fun answer. All right, so last question via the Christian voicemail number. Go for it.
Hey guys, it's me, Christian. I was just calling because my kid and I have a question for you. My question is, what do you hope for the DLC for The Legend of Zelda? I know I'm a big Zelda fan, and all I think about is Zelda. But my hope is that we get backstory on who those other three dragons are in the game. Being like, now that we know how dragons come to be, I want to know who those dragons are. That's like one of my biggest questions I have about the game. And my daughter Tegan, and also Alyssa too, they both love cooking. Their favorite thing about the Zelda game is cooking all the crazy combinations, but they've run into a problem you can't make a donut, and donuts are their favorite food, and so they're hoping that the next DLC will include being able to make donuts. And you know what? I can't say no to that. That would be amazing. We got pizza. Why can't we have donuts? What's your guys' hope for the DLC for the Tears of the Kingdom if we get the DLC? All right, guys. Hope you have a great day. Talk to you later.
Great question. And don't forget, if anybody else wants to leave a question on our voicemail, you just call 929-25 NINDADS or 929-256-3237. You can call our voicemail, sponsored by Christian.
Yeah. I thought he was going to get a little spoilery there, but I think he rode the correct side of that line.
Yeah, he did.
I like where he's going with that, though really, I kind of don't want DLC. I think,
the game is huge.
It's already huge. It has a great ending. I kind of don't want anything else to possibly ruin that.
I can understand. Like, you're loving a game so much that you want to just be in that world for a long time and have something to give you a push. So maybe some, smaller side stories, not necessarily that impact the main story, but, little small stories that you open up in the world, maybe.
Yeah, well, as I said earlier, if once I put the game down, I very rarely pick it back up. And,
True.
This game has been down for a month, and it'll take a little... Even if they do release DLC, I doubt I'll get it. Just like I don't plan on picking up the Pokemon DLC. That's been 9 months since I played that game by the time it launches.
Nice.
And we've talked about our backlogs already, so.
Yep. I haven't picked it up in a while because I've been playing all these other games just because I needed a break from it. I still have an itch every now and then. I was like, I should go back in there, but it's like, no, I'm going to keep playing here. And then I'm still on that doorstep of the water temple. So
Yeah.
I still can jump
pretty much
that.
While I was playing it, I was putting in 20 to 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
In addition to working full time.
Right. Too bad we couldn't get paid for that, right? So
right.
That would, it would be funny. I was just thinking when he was talking about the cooking part of it, was like we were joking about when you were talking about your bow and arrow. We were talking about Jesse's crossbow training. What if they did a Zelda cooking training game?
Right.
And then that way you could get your cooking elements in it.
And maybe have more than one type of dubious food.
Yes. That'd be funny. Or thinking about it, this is the part where they were toying with it a little bit, and it might have been because of the pandemic. But they had that, what was that cat jump rope game thing they did?
Yeah.
But they used to do this more often. Nintendo, meaning developers would do these quirky little games for the DSiWare or something like that, right? Or even for the DS, 3DS, little quirky games that they would do. And it's like, I don't feel like we're getting that anymore. Do you? Like they could do a quirky Zelda cooking game, where they could be able to do that type of thing is where I'm trying to get at. That's quick little,
just, yeah.
$5 game on the eShop. That
almost like a Cooking Mama, but Zelda skin.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, what happened to those, let your Nintendo listen. I know you guys listen to us all the time. Just listen for a second here. Go back, do what Google does. Give your developers, 20% time during their week to develop something on their own that they would like to develop. And then, or do like Double Fine. Double Fine does that. I forget what they called their time where they get all the developers to come up with ideas. Everybody votes on it.
Almost like a hackathon.
Yeah, and then whatever they voted on, everybody can, whoever wins the votes, then there's like 4 or 5 teams that build that game for fun. Nintendo needs to do that too. All right. I think that's enough stalling. I think we can end the show, right, Jesse?
I think so. We're just,
All right.
It's about the 2.5 hour mark.
Right. All right. Cool. All right. Well, let's first give a huge shout out. I was going with something there. Let's give a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Chris Mears, Dave Ernsberger, RJ Kern, Jacqueline Amira, David White, as well as to our other 90 plus Patreons. Next, a special thank you to our 14 Twitch subscribers and over 1,409 Twitch followers. And a shout out to our 6,867 YouTube subscribers. Thank you to each and every one of you, whether you're a Patreon or you're a subscriber, or you're listening to us on podcasts, you subscribe that way, you leave a review, you know, all the different ways that you can share our stuff helps us in every single way. So thank you very much for doing that. Check out our website, nintendodads.org, for Spotify podcast feeds on our show, as well as the other 9 NINDADS family of podcasts like Game Pass News, Dads After Dark Show, and the Retro Logic family of podcasts featuring Retro Logic, On Topic Retro, Retro Groove, and Film Logic. Our latest YouTube videos and tweets, links to all our social media, Patreon, and Extra Life pages, and Nintendo Dads merch once we get some more updated merch there. Again, that's nintendodads.org. And don't forget to check out our sponsors like manscaped.com. Get 20% off your Manscaped order with free shipping with the code NINDADS, NINDADS. You can contact us in most places by typing Nintendo Dads, or email us at nintendodads@gmail.com, or call and leave a voicemail at the sponsored voicemail by Christian by 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music throughout the show. Download from your favorite podcast app of choice, and please leave us a 5-star review and a comment. We'd love to hear from you. For me, for Jesse, for Justin, for Marty, and Marty, get well soon. And a shout out to our friend of the show, Super Vin. Why am I messing up his name? Why do I feel Super Vin?
Nintendo?
The Super Nintendo. Thank you. Shout out to Super Nintendo. Hope you're doing well. And shout out to Gary Gray, alumni Nintendo Dad. Again, from all of us, check you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Do you know who I am?
Nintendo.